see. Can you hear? There we go. There we go. Okay. I was asking everyone if they could hear me, but you should be able to hear me now. Letting everyone know in the super top secret Slack that the stream is not in fact burning. Yes, there we go. All right. I was asking everyone if they could hear me all right and if the music was too loud. Just to double check, because I am in my home studio today, and sometimes when you transfer studios, things can get a little jumbled up. That's just how life is sometimes. But welcome in, everyone. My name is Voodoo Val, and I'm going to be your host for the second challenge of this round of Photoshop Daily Creative Challenges. I'm very excited to be here to jump into what we have for you today. For those of you who maybe have never been here for the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenges, or any Daily Creative Challenges for that matter, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of an introduction so that you can get involved with me and what I am doing today, get involved in the community for these challenges, and give you a little bit of information on how to get started. So, if you folks would like to join me in this challenge, all you have to do is head over to, let me jump over here, to behance.net/challenge/Photoshop. And this will bring you here where you can get a little how does it work spiel about how to join, what to do, where to get your assets, and things like that. You definitely want to register by hitting this big blue button here, register for the challenge. But then basically every day you will get a new challenge on this page. Yesterday we did layers and selections. Today we're doing bevel and emboss, and I'm really excited about this. I know that some of you folks are going to be making a lot of jokes during today's broadcast. Tomorrow the next challenge will be unlocked. So all of them basically are grayed out and unavailable to you until the morning around 8 a.m. Pacific time that they are released. And you can come in here, you can get your latest challenge if you are late to the show, or you show up after I've already started broadcasting, or maybe you are in the future right now and you are watching this and watching me go over something that's been done for weeks. You can always come back to the original page for every round of DCC challenges and click on the watch video buttons and go back to their original archived video. So if you decide that you can't finish the stream today, or if you decide that you just want to come back later and do this, or if you follow along with me today and then you realize, oh geez, I need to go back, I need to watch this thing that she did, I need to know how to do that, you can always just scrub back in the archive video and check it out. I also have prepared little starter files for you folks, so if you don't know where to start, or you need kind of a little stepping stone for your challenge today, all you have to do is hit the Get Started button and you guys can get the files that I have prepared for you. How do you do the planets from yesterday's challenge, please? I found a planet image, but you could also create a planet from scratch. It's really up to you. I'm always in the future. Hello, Howard Pinsky. It's good to see you, my friend. Without further ado, I am going to jump in here, or maybe actually before we jump into the challenge, I will highlight the community, because what I really want to make sure you guys know about is our Discord. So if you scroll down to the bottom and hit join us, it will actually bring you over to our Photoshop Discord, which I will pull up real quick. Boom. Just hiding on my other monitor over there. And I'm gonna actually bump myself over to the other side with magic, so that you folks can see all of the panels and channels and stuff over here. If you guys click the current challenge channel, that is where everyone is posting their current challenges every day. This is, wow, Sean, this is so cool. This is looking good. I see that you darkened the background a little bit. This is just really neat. Everyone's doing such a wonderful job on these challenges. Look at this space dog. You really don't want to miss these, because we've been having a blast in here in the Discord. and everyone's posting what they're working on. You can also come into the past challenges, so if you do a past challenge, for a round of challenges that we're not currently on, you can always come in here and post them and still get feedback on something that might be a little bit older than what we're working on. So it's a really great place. You can come in, you can ask questions, you can get tips and tricks, you can get career advice. We have a career advice section now. And we also have a place where you can just jump in and chat, talk about general things, get feedback on your personal work, and introduce yourself to the community. So it's a blast. And you definitely want to be in this Discord. So definitely click that Discord button, or you can go to bit.ly/psdiscord. It is very important that that P and that S are capitalized. So definitely head over there and make some friends. Share your designs. All right, so let's jump over now into Photoshop. So when you click that button up at the top of the challenges that says get started, it will bring you to a file that you can download that looks like this. So today what we're going to be doing is creating a space badge. Now you guys remember that I said all of these challenges are going to be sci-fi themed. So the space badge is basically anything that you as a space explorer would want to wear with pride. On your breast, on your shoulder, you know, on your hat, on you anywhere that you want to rep your space colony, whatever you want to do. I may or may not have borrowed a particular shape for this challenge, but I am going to go into how to create shapes so that some of you folks can make one from scratch if you prefer. But you will get this shape in your file, so that if you are less comfortable doing that, you just want to jump into the Bevel and Emboss settings, you can. So the way that I made this shape, I'm gonna come in here real quick and I'm gonna hide my text layer because I just have this guy right here, which is pretty cool. So I made this with the pen tool, actually, and there are a lot of different ways that you can make shapes, and I'm going to go over a few of them for you. So the pen tool, you can either find it right here in your taskbar, or you can find it by clicking P on your keyboard. And all I did really was I just clicked, and then I clicked again, and then I kind of drug this out. And I'm going to zoom out real quick just so that I can really get the full scope of this. And I pulled my little arm up there. And you can, if you're using the pen tool and you find that you don't know how to edit things after you place a point, don't worry. After you place a point, you can hold Control and you can drag a currently placed point around however you like. You can also hold, let's see, let me get in here. I'm gonna hit F on my keyboard to enter the second view of Photoshop because that's where I'm most comfortable. You can hold Alt just to grab one of the points. Hold Alt and hover over a point so that you can drag this out and make it larger or smaller, which I actually might do to this one just to keep everything, on the, let's see. No, I kind of want to keep this out because that one's dictating where that is. Also, if you were using the pen tool and you find that whenever you go to make another point, it goes in a weird direction, all you have to do is remember that this secondary arm, not the one that dictates the arc of the previous line, but this other one here, all you have to do is hold Alt and move that into the direction that you wish for the next line of your path to go. And it will actually help direct that for you. So now that that's pointing upward, I can actually come over here and click, and it will actually bump it up. So I'm gonna do that one more time. I hit Control Z just to undo, and I'm gonna click, and then I'm gonna drag just so that it does what I want it here. And you can see if I zoom in here, it does give me like a weird little bowing there. So I'm gonna hold Control, and I'm just gonna click this point to select it again, and then I'm going to hold Alt and I'm going to drag that like so, just to make it a little better. I'm going to click over here and maybe move this one like that. Boom. All right, so I've made myself a little shape. I can come up here to the settings up at the very top. Right now I have it just on a stroke and a no fill. But I actually want to change this. I'm going to fill it with like a gray color, and then I'm going to hit my stroke here, and I'm going to turn my stroke off because I don't need that. And there I have a shape. So that's how I created mine. If you folks want to just do maybe an ellipse or a rounded rectangle or anything, you guys can come over here to the shape tool and you can use any shapes that you want. You could also not use any shape tools at all. You guys could also grab the brush by hitting B on your keyboard or selecting the brush from the brushes panel there. I'm gonna make a new layer with Control-Shift-N, which is the hotkey for new layer. And you could come in here and you could draw, if you have a stylus, you could make your own shape like this. It doesn't really have to be created by any kind of shape tool. You could make anything. You could come in and, you know, depending on what, I'm just kind of making a random shape right here just for the heck of, you know, doing an example. But you can make a shape however you prefer. When it comes to making clean shapes, however, and using Bevel and Emboss, I do prefer to use the pen tool because then I know that everything is going to be clean and precise, and I don't have to worry about getting any strange artifacts when I do go into the Bevel and Emboss settings. So now that I have my little shape, I'm going to jump into the settings, as I said. So I'm going to bump this down, and I'm just going to use shape 1 here. And all I have to do in order to open my settings, my layer settings, layer styles, is just to double click my layer. Not double clicking on the image, not double clicking on the text title of my layer, but in the empty space beside it. I'm going to go ahead and double click. And it opens up this nifty little panel. So I'm going to hold spacebar and I'm going to grab my canvas and drag it over here. If you find that you can't do that whenever you want to drag your canvas around, it is probably because you are in the first view of your Photoshop. All you have to do is make sure you're not selected on anything, or make sure your cursor isn't in any text regions or anything, and just hit F on your keyboard and it'll pull you into the view that I'm in now, so I can still see all of my panels, but I'm free to drag my canvas around even if I am not zoomed into a portion of it, which is just very convenient for your workspace. So now that I have my panel open here, I'm going to go to Bevel and Emboss, and I already have some settings kind of default in there. You can see that immediately made my item here look, my little badge here look like metal. You can see it puts like a little bit of a shine on the top. It gives it a little edge there, and it kind of looks like a soft metal. But we're gonna take things a step further. In fact, I'm gonna actually move myself over to the other side here because I want you to be able to see everything that we do to the shape. So how does this come about? I'm going to come in here to the settings. There's a lot of things that you can do when it comes to getting the right look for Bevel and Emboss that you want. You can come into style. I'm using inner bevel, but there is also outer bevel. There is also emboss. There is also pillow emboss, which is a little softer, and there's also stroke emboss. But for this particular look that I'm achieving today, inner bevel is the proper one. Now you can come over and you can go to, I typically use smooth because it makes everything look smooth. It makes everything look like a more realistic metal kind of look. But there's also chisel hard and there's also chisel soft. And I typically don't use this for anything that has a curve in it because as you can see, if I zoom in here, it does give me these strange little artifacts around the edges whenever I am dealing with something that is curved or that is kind of a rounder, softer shape. So I am gonna leave it on smooth because I like that. Check that out. That's just nice, perfect little rounded top there, and makes it look like it has a metallic shine. So you can change the depth of your bevel if you want. You can also come in and change the size of it. It's really up to you what you decide you want to do. I think I'm going to leave mine right there. And then you can also soften the transition there. You can change the direction from up to down. So all of my lighting is coming from the bottom now instead of the top. I do want mine coming from the top and slightly to the side, so that is where I'm going to leave it. And also keep in mind down here in the angle area, you can actually change the angle of your light source. So if I change it, if I click here, you can see how everything kind of transforms, everything kind of moves over to the side. I would say be careful when you're editing these settings, because sometimes I have trouble making sure I get like that proper look that I want, but it can be really fun to kind of noodle around with this and drag this light source. You don't have to only click like left and right. You can actually click closer. The closer to the center dot on this angle graph here, the closer to your object, the center of your object you're getting. So you can also click not just left or right, but you can also click like kind of to the side and in the middle of that range there. You can also change the angle degrees and the altitude degrees manually here if you have a very particular light source that you would like to use. So that's pretty fun. I'm going to actually hit cancel just so that my original light source comes back. You know, I don't want to apply those because I just want that to be the way it was before. I am going to bump the size up because I did like that size though. And then another thing that you can do is you can change the gloss contour. Now this, I actually created kind of a custom contour, which you can create by clicking the image of the gloss contour, and you can come in to this little window here and you can move this around. Which is actually pretty cool. However, you can also come in and change them according to some of these settings that they have available to you. So if you are not the kind of person that wants to get into the nitty-gritty details of this gloss contour and you just want to use something that is already prepared for you, that is totally cool, and you can select something from this menu. But I am going to hit cancel again because I want to keep the original effects that I had already. So that is kind of how you can come in and make your bevel and emboss kind of look a little bit more realistic. You can also come in and change the blending mode on the shadows and the highlights of your object. You can really get pretty in depth here. You can even change the opacity of the shadows and the highlights as well. So get in there, noodle around, try to make something look like it has like a real shine on it. And if you want a little bit of extra detail, all you have to do is this. This is something that I like to do whenever I'm making something look metal, and that is put a clipping mask over it of some metal texture. So I'm gonna go back into my first view here. I'm gonna grab one of my metal textures here, and I'm gonna drag that layer over to my starter file. And I am going to zoom in just a little bit. I'm going to say Control T because I want to free transform this. I'm going to drag this like so to make it maybe a little bit bigger. And I do want to tilt this image so that the light source matches my item, like that. I'm going to hit enter. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click that layer, and I'm going to scroll down, and right there, boom, I'm going to say create clipping mask. And basically what that does is it makes everything that is on the layer that I'm transforming into a clipping mask adhere to the borders of everything that is on the layer below it. No more, no less. So yes, metal textures. So I like to add in textures, and you can choose what you want to do. Maybe you don't want to add any textures in at all, but I kind of like to add textures like this when I want something to look a little bit more realistic, and I even like to put them on blending modes. So you can remember, you can click your little blending mode panel up here, and you can drag your mouse down and preview some of these blending modes. If you were on a Mac, if you were on a PC, you can actually click and make sure it's highlighted blue, and you can cycle through all of the blending modes with your up and down arrow keys. So I like to come through and find one that I like. And it depends really. That actually looks pretty cool, kind of like a grayscale. I put it on difference and it gives it kind of a dark look there. And I just like to find a setting where I think it looks the best. And I'm gonna Martha Stewart you guys real quick, because I've actually done one that I prefer just when I was testing this, and I did add kind of more of a gritty metal texture onto it, and that's just kind of how I give it like a little bit of pizzazz, you know, make it look like something is real. And that is my space badge that I have created for you guys. So one thing I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to save my file. In fact, I already have one saved just in case it took some time to think for whatever reason. And I am going to come over to the Discord and I'm going to share my entry with you folks. I'm going to scroll and make sure I hit current challenge, not the past challenges. Make sure I'm in the current challenge channel, and I'm going to scroll all the way down past these wonderful entries. I'm going to hit that plus button, and then I'm going to navigate over to my document. It's kind of pulled it up for me on my other monitor. I'm going to grab my file and I am going to upload it, and I'm going to say, here is my space badge. Boom. And I'm going to say upload. And there you have it. There's my space badge. You guys can all go in there and check it out. I cannot wait to see what kind of badges you folks choose. Obviously, mine is fairly recognizable if you are a Star Trek fan. I know that I'm going to get a lot of trolling about that, maybe because you guys know what a Star Wars fan I am. But I thought that it was a pretty cool little shape, a little symbol to use for this challenge, just to get the point across of how to use the Bevel Emboss settings. A lot of these daily creative challenges that oftentimes cover 1 to 2 techniques each day. You can see more on the challenge page if you scroll down. Yes, indeed. Definitely head over to this page. I will actually pull it up. If you go to behance.net/challenge/Photoshop, you will get a list of the current challenges as well as the past challenges at the bottom. But that's all the time I have for today, folks. Thank you very much for joining me. It has been a blast. I will see you guys later on in the day, but for now, I'm going to take off. Don't go anywhere, though, because we have an awesome design segment coming up after me, and I know that you guys will enjoy it. So I will see you next time. Adios, everyone.